6-year-old Kingsley Mercer and her beloved paint pony Razzle.
Kingsley, she started riding in the Gymkhana rodeo events, and we bought Razzle for her to ride in those events, and she's actually got a couple first place ribbons.
After riding in the rodeo at the Kern County Fair Thursday, Kingsley and her parents took Razzle back to Robinson Stables in Oildale, where she lives along with their other horses. She was there Friday and Saturday and was set to return to the fairgrounds Wednesday. But on Sunday morning, a call came in with heartbreaking news.
Kingsley's trainer called and said that Razzle was not in her pen, so when we rushed out here, she's not in her pen and thought maybe she just got out.
After spending all day Sunday looking, Kingsley's parents had to break the news to her.
We asked her last night, we said, hey, we were not able to find Razzle, and her halter and lead line's gone. You know what that means, right? And she goes, somebody took her, Daddy. And I said, yeah, I think so.
Sometime between Saturday evening and Sunday morning, someone went into Razzle's pen and took her, leaving behind a set of unfamiliar boot prints leading from Razzle's stable out and down the riverbed.
We know that they took her down to the riverbed, and we're not sure where she went from there. We are hopeful that she's still in the area, and if so, I'm pretty confident we'll find her, but we don't know where she's at the moment.
The family not giving up hope, calling in reinforcements, a community of friends and families joining in the search.
The stables, the people here are phenomenal people. This is, and by no means their fault. My wife and a lot of people, a lot of our friends, and even some people that work with us at our businesses, they came out and they hit every stable along here.
A call for Razzle being heard nationwide, and little Kingsley doing everything she can to find her pony.
It's been a pretty big deal for her, and she's pretty heartbroken. She's crying last night. We don't have any ill will towards anybody. I'm as a dad of a 6-year-old girl who loses her pony, obviously I'm very angry. We want this little pony back for Kingsley.
The Kern County Board of Supervisors held a meeting today to discuss the possibility of the McFarland Police converting the city's library into a new station.
We have far outgrown our police building, and we are in dire need of a larger structure to allow us to appropriately address the needs of public safety in our community.
McFarland Chief of Police Kenneth Williams says that the current police station is in need of a new location, but time and money play a factor as to why the library is the best choice to relocate.
Timeliness, we need it now. We don't need it 5 years down the road. We need to do something now. And the cost of the building. We don't have a lot of money.
While Williams argues that public safety should be more of a priority, others such as Michael Turnipseed, Executive Director, Kern County Taxpayers Association, disagrees.
Closing a library or moving it to a different, smaller, reduced footprint is not what we need to do when we're trying to develop workforce.
As of today, no decision has been made, but supervisors say they will be talking with McFarland Police Department to see what will be happening next. In McFarland, Henry Flores, 23 ABC News, connecting you.
As Hurricane Ian courses up the Caribbean, crunch time across Florida. Families boarding up their homes, filling sandbags, fueling up cars, and emptying store shelves.
First thing that's going to go is going to be power and then the water, so just make sure you have a little bit extra so you can take care of yourself and get out of town.
Evacuations began Monday in high-risk sections of the Tampa area's Hillsborough and Pinellas counties.
We expect to have to evacuate over 300,000 people, and it will take some time.
The Tampa Bay area bracing for the worst, its first direct hit in 100 years.
What I'm most worried about are the fact that these storms are so unpredictable.
Florida already under a state of emergency with some 7,000 National Guard members activated. The nation's Department of Health and Human Services also declaring a public health emergency, enhancing the state's disaster response. ABC's Rob Marciano with more on protective aqua fencing going up around Tampa General Hospital.
This trauma center sits in the evacuation zone. It will likely flood, and this wall is designed to keep the water out so they can keep the patients in.
Along Florida's Space Coast, NASA's Artemis 1 launch delayed again. The agency deciding to roll back its $4 billion rocket from the launch pad as Ian's threat grows. The rapidly intensifying storm system struck Cuba overnight as a Category 3 hurricane after battering the Cayman Islands. Back in Florida, Governor Ron DeSantis is suspending tolls on some Gulf Coast area roads to help with the evacuation effort, and more could follow based on Ian's movements. Justin Finch, ABC News, Tampa.
It's a bombshell that the Alameda County Sheriff's Department admits was wrong. 47 deputies were asked to give back their badge and firearms after an internal audit into their psychological exams found that they were not suited for the job.
A lot of young people out of college don't do as well on the psychological exam as someone who has much more life experience. This has nothing to do with substance use issues or any mental disorders or diagnosis.
Sergeant Ray Kelly with the Sheriff's Department said a contributing factor was their age. Deputies qualify for this role at 21 years old. LaDoris Hazard Cordell, a retired Superior Court judge and former independent police auditor for the city of San Jose, pointed out that the psychological exam measures more than just age.
This whole purpose is to determine whether or not that person is suitable to do the work of a law enforcement officer, free from emotional and or mental conditions that might adversely affect the exercise of the powers of a peace officer.
Jim Hammer, former San Francisco Assistant District Attorney, believes these candidates should have been flagged years ago.
No job that requires more discretion, more good judgment, more balanced psychological state than someone with a badge and a gun. Whoever allowed them to go into duty with a D score, I hope they're not in position of authority anymore.
What triggered this audit was a double homicide from several weeks ago, where a 24-year-old Alameda deputy was arrested. He had failed his law enforcement psychological exam. Sergeant Kelly said that prior to 2016, the law allowed for people with a low psychological exam score to be hired. That law changed in 2016.
Either people just dropped the ball and did not keep up with the law. But it's more than an oversight. That's negligence.
Alameda County Sheriff's Department confirmed the 47 deputies are currently doing desk jobs and will undergo a second psychological exam.
You believe that more consequences will come out of this?
Yes, there are going to be some very serious repercussions. I see lawsuits. I could see the deputies suing. Some heads are going to roll.
We reached out to the union representing sheriff deputies and have not heard back. In San Francisco, Luz Peña, ABC7 News.
Governor Newsom has a busy week ahead. There's roughly 550 bills still sitting on his desk, and he has until Friday at midnight to sign them or to veto.
He's got roughly the need to do about 110 bills per day, which is a pretty high volume.
Chris McCaley is a longtime Sacramento lobbyist and adjunct law professor closely tracking the governor's political moves. Among the bills still awaiting Newsom's approval is that controversial farm workers unionization bill that would expand union organizing rights for agricultural workers. Farm workers have been marching to the Capitol to raise awareness, and both President Biden and Speaker Pelosi have urged the governor to sign it.
We don't know for certain what the governor is going to do, although we know that one of his press persons in August indicated that the governor still had the same concerns that he did when he vetoed last year's measure.
Other outstanding bills include one authored by San Francisco Assemblymember Phil Ting that would allow jaywalking on empty streets. The governor vetoed a similar bill last year. And a bill that would drastically change solitary confinement in California prisons and jails by limiting the use to 15 consecutive days and no more than 45 days out of 180. So far, Governor Newsom has vetoed 60 of the some 1,100 bills sent to him for approval this legislative session. That includes his decision over the weekend to reject a bill that would have made kindergarten mandatory. McCaley says Newsom's number one reason for a veto is cost.
In all those bills, those more than 1,100 bills sent to him this year in the 2022 session, If you added up all the costs, they would exceed $20 billion in either one-time or ongoing spending.
In recent days, the governor has signed a number of bills into law. On Friday, which he proclaimed Native American Day, he signed a bill that would remove the ethnic slur word squaw from all geographic features and places in the state, and a bill that would rename University of California's Hastings College of the Law to the College of the Law San Francisco. Over the weekend, he also signed 2 bills to crack down on catalytic converter thefts. Both would restrict how and where people and recycling companies can purchase used catalytic converters.
You take away the market for stolen goods, you can help cut down on stealing. It's not much more complicated than that.
Liz Kreutz, ABC 7 News.